All right, Hanrahan, welcome. It's Wednesday night. 2 days closer to the weekend, right?
Yes.
Our guests, they don't really need a whole lot of introduction. I got the 52 MVP sitting next to me, Bobby Shantz. I got the 1980 World Series champ to my other side, Bobby Wine. And don't forget John O'Brien. Yeah, John. Come on, you guys. You can really Thanks everybody for coming out. It looks like a nice crowd. Traffic, I understand from people who came from there far was a bit, so I apologize. You can blame it on Beyonce. It's got to be her fault.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bill Mattis.
Fought the traffic.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Without you, we're not here.
All right. Let's get this party started. So for all the regulars, you guys know what we do with raffles. We got some awesome stuff up here tonight. Somebody's going to go home a winner. So come up and get your 2 free ones. Extras are $1 a piece. The money all goes back to our charity. So dig deep. Let's have some fun. Questions, Q&A, we'll handle that. We'll have some off-the-wall trivia tonight. So we kind of changed things up again. So we ask you to turn your phones off and no Wikipedia. So, I didn't say that. Why are you staring at me, Mike Schmidt?
We also have July 28th ready tickets available when you come up to see Anthony.
Raise your hand, Mr. Executive. He's got Ready Fighting Phil's tickets. Come say up.
July 28th, wrestling night afterwards, fireworks.
Wrestling night. You got some wrestling fans in the house, right? Here you go. Who's going to be there? What's his name? The Godfather? Here you go.
Plus some live wrestling afterwards.
Godfather, post-game wrestling, fireworks, which would be okay.
So that's July 28th, right?
Friday night, yep.
All right, come see them, free tickets. All right, so again, Hanrahan's Irish Pub, we're here every month. Thank you, Jimmy Clark. Thank you to the staff. You guys do a great job, letting us come in and take the place over. So hopefully everybody takes care of the bartenders and servers, order up some of this great food. Bobby Wine, he's a cheap date. You can get him a Bud Light, and Bobby Shantz is even cheaper. He's iced tea. So there you go. So we're going to, I guess my question, get 2 questions. First one I'm going to throw at Bobby Shantz. How do you like these new rules in baseball?
I hate them. So they get your game over a little faster, but some of the other stuff they come up with, I don't like. I don't like getting the games tied to put a man on second base and start off. I don't like that. Other than that, I guess I don't like really putting. You don't have anybody playing third base. I don't like anybody all the time.
So you're not a fan. How about you, Bobby Wine? What's your opinion?
Well, the dumbest rules I ever saw. How can you try to beat a team? You set up your defense to beat a team. They're saying you can't move the fielders to get in the right position to make the play. Doesn't make any sense. It used to be, you try to stop the other team from scoring. They want everybody to score. So it's a joke anymore.
Everything's a base hit. All these errors that are happening, they're base hits. You won the Gold Glove. Both of you won the Gold Glove. You guys would have won like 40 of them if you would have played.
Well, I don't know about 40 of them.
No, but I mean, it's crazy. Errors that are happening that we see, and it's like, now base hit.
It just doesn't make any sense for that. And now it's hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. What do they do? Save 15 seconds a game, and it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Look, we got bases loaded. You got bases loaded and 2 out. You go out and talk to the pitcher, and they're saying you can't talk to him. You put a pitcher in for one hitter. You can't do that. He's got to pitch to 3 of them.
Right.
So he gives up 10 runs. I don't get it.
No, exactly. It's crazy how they're, you guys both played baseball. Now it's, fantasy baseball, basically. Where they're playing it.
Well, G-Mark couldn't handle this.
No.
He was a great baseball man, knew everything about the game, and there's no way that any of those, DeRocha and Locke and Walter Alston and those guys, there's no way they could handle baseball now.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, and they're almost taking all those good baseball men away and just basically replacing them with computers. That they're just sitting there playing the game.
Well, the Phillies have a whole floor
Right.
of people working, doing computers, not watching a game. All they do is work on their computer, and then they send a note down. Well, I think you can get them out this way. Well,
83% of the time it happens.
uh,
You're still 18%.
I don't buy that. I don't
Right.
buy that.
Exactly. Yep, it's tough.
Mr. Chance, so let's talk a little analytics. So you're on the mound and you're gonna face Mickey Mantle, let's say. And they're gonna tell you what to throw. We're gonna tell you what pitch to throw.
Who?
The manager.
No, the manager never told me what pitch to throw. Yogi Berra told me what pitch to throw. I didn't throw it. I really not, when I was with the Yankees, Yogi used to come out and he'd say, now make the league your writing forward. I never tried to do that, but Whitey was a good pitcher. I really did try to take some lessons from him. He was really a good pitcher.
So, favorite teammate? Favorite teammate?
Favorite teammate was Bobby Richardson, second baseman for the New York Yankees. He was a very religious boy. I don't know why they put me with him, but evidently they didn't think I was too religious, I guess. One time we were going to Washington, and he wanted to take me to church. I said, okay, Bobby. And off to church we went. We're singing nice songs. The man up there preaching, and the next thing you know, Bobby got up and he walked away from me, and I didn't know where he was going. And believe it or not, 5 more minutes he was up there preaching. And boy, he really pulled the heck out of me. I'll tell you that. I didn't know he was very religious, but I didn't know he was a preacher. But he was really a good guy, good man.
How about you, Bobby Wine? Favorite teammate?
Well, I'd have to go with Johnny Callison. Johnny was a class guy, and when I got recalled to come up here, we kind of bonded a little bit, and he was just a straight arrow guy that knew how to play, and was actually the best player. Him, two guys. We had the 2 best players in baseball. Allen was one and Callison was another. And between the two of them, they played every game, every inning. They never came out of the game, and it was just a class act.
He was a pretty good bartender too, right?
I don't know about the bartender, but I know Richie Allen was a pretty good bartender. Richie was unbelievable. I mean, I'm trying to get him in the Hall of Fame, which is great. Too bad they didn't try to do it while he was alive.
Yeah.
But Richie Allen was so non-conforming to anything in baseball that was going on. They could never find him half the time. And he just went about his business. And most of us, we were told what to do, and we did it. Richie was told what to do and did the opposite. But as the game started, you wanted him on the field. You wanted him at the plate. You wanted him on your team. So there's two ways to look at it. If I was management, he'd have drove me crazy. But being a teammate and a player, he was on your side.
Yeah, once he's between the lines, it was all game.
Yeah, he was just unbelievable. G. Mark was our manager, and he would say, "Okay, now be here 5 o'clock. We're having a team meeting." Well, 5 o'clock, everybody in their chair. If we didn't have a chair, we had a stool, and Mark would look around. He'd rant and rave about something, and Alan would never be there. He said, "All right, I'll tell him later." All right, and that went on forever. He just didn't conform to what they wanted to do.
What do you got, Johnny?
Well, Bobby, you were part of the coaching staff through the probably one of the greatest times of Phillies baseball from the early 70s all the way to 83 there. What made that team so special?
Well, we started out in spring training naturally, like everybody else, and we got the team we had was pretty good. I mean, every position was pretty well filled, and we started playing, and Dallas came down and became our manager. Even though he said he didn't want to manage, but so he let me run a lot of the stuff, and I knew that what the guys were doing, and in the middle of the season we had a crash meeting. Dallas was loud and let people know all over the world what he felt. But after that, I kind of talked to him a little bit, and I said, we got a pretty good club here. We got a chance. And I said, the guys are pretty good. So he backed off a little bit on some of the stuff. And, the little stuff you don't even worry about. Like Gene Muck told me years ago, he said, you don't worry about the little piddly things. You try to stop the big things. And, we let things ride for a while, and we played, and we got better and better and better as the year went on. And the playoffs in Houston, well, first of all, we had to win. We had to beat the Pirates first in Pittsburgh. Then we went to Houston. We had to beat them, and we were losing, Nolan Ryan pitching. But we came back and won. So the World Series was really a cakewalk after the playoff season, and it just everybody clicked. Everything worked. I mean, Dellinger gets up and he gets a hit, and Trio gets a hit, and Boone gets a hit. And just things just fell in line, and it was probably the biggest thrill to do that, because I had been on all the other teams, the 76, the 77, 78. We get to the playoffs, and we didn't have anybody playing well, and in 80, everybody did. So that was the highlight of the year.
Yeah, we've had a few good members of the 80 team on here, and Greg Losinski thinks that Greg Gross's bunt was even going up against Nolan Ryan.
Absolutely.
Was a big key of that factor. You guys.
But everybody contributed.
Everybody,
Everybody,
yeah, everybody.
I mean, it was unbelievable. And then we start the World Series with 2 rookies.
Right.
And, we wind up winning the World Series. So you never know how the game goes.
Exactly, yeah. It takes the whole 26 man, 25 at the time. So,
I'll tell you a story about what we got Jim Bunning, right, in a trade. And he was pitched a perfect game in New York. And luckily I played that game and I caught a pop-up and a big deal. It was a routine pop-up. Anyway, well, he pitched a perfect game. So now after a number of years, he retires. And he goes to Washington as a senator. So he said he was in his office, got this big Oval Office here in Washington, and he doesn't know what he should be doing because he's got a telephone over there and he's got a desk here and he's got pencils, but he's got nothing to talk about, nothing to say, nobody's around, nothing's going on, and he's kind of looking like, geez, what am I supposed to do? My first year here, I don't know what do I do. So he sat there. And finally, this guy knocks on the door and said, "Sir, can I bother you?" And he picks up the telephone and he starts talking. "Okay, yeah, I'll be there in that meeting and I'll do that and I'll do this. And yeah, all right, whatever you say, okay." And he hangs up and he asks the guy, "What can I do for you?" He said, "Well, I'm the telephone man. I was going to hook your telephone up for you." That's from the horse's mouth too, because that did happen.
oops, got caught. We have some new attire out here.
What happened?
We got some new attire with Lauren.
Yeah, we're being, what do they call it? We're being hacked.
Hacked. Definitely being
I think
hacked.
we're getting hacked. Anyway, questions, comments for these 2 baseball greats? I don't know when the last time you guys had or we've had the pleasure to have two baseball greats in our company. You gotta have questions, comments, let's have some conversation. Johnny, what do you got?
Question for Bonnie. You talk about that, John was from the team, the late 70s into the 80s, great teams and whatnot. Can you talk about how big was the acquisition of Pete Rose for that 1980 team?
Actually, Pete Rose won the World Series for us. Not by what he did for, just by being there and playing. He plays his hard, hard. He played hard every day. But Pete Rose was so great about off the field stuff that writers and broadcasters and all the people went after him after a game. Mike Schmidt, Brzezinski, Maddox, all those guys. Nobody bothered them at all during that time. And Pete would answer any question they wanted to know. Anything. Besides being a good player and helping us win that way. His being there took the heat off everybody else. And he never dodged anything. He told them, they flocked to him, and it really did help us because Schmitty was kind of a low-key guy, Maddox was low-key, and McBride. So he took all the heat off of those guys, and we wound up playing that way.
Larry Bow was low key too, wasn't he?
Larry Bow was not low-key. Larry Bow was a lunatic. You really want to know? Oh my gosh. He was unbelievable. He never knew what was going to turn up when he walked through the door. When he walked through the door, was he going to be happy or was he going to be sad or whatever? But he played hard, and he went overboard sometimes. But he was the one time he was playing and he was struggling, and he came back after striking out, and in the dugout there's a bathroom, a full bathroom, and all of a sudden, Lozinski was standing next to me, and Boa went in there with his bat, and we heard crash, bam, crash, bam, 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 bam. And Lozinski was next to me and said, "Oh, that was a good swing. I think that was all right. That was a good swing. That was no. He swung up on that one." And now the inning's over, so he runs out to his position, and Greg goes out to his position, and we called the plumber because the water was shooting out of the urinals and out of the. He broke everything in place, and that's the way he played. He
Oh, yeah, it was intense.
just you never knew what was going to happen.
We have a question.
This is for Bobby James. Bobby, in 52, you and Robin Roberts had tremendous seasons. What was it like at Shibe Park with the way the fandom was and the spirit when both you and Robbie were having spectacular seasons?
Spirit was really good in Philadelphia. Probably the best I ever heard of. Robbie was winning everyone, and I was picking up a win here and there, but he ended up winning 28 games, and I ended up winning 24. And I had 27 complete games. I don't know if you can believe that. And I was only in this period of office. And he was one of my best friends too. He Kurt Simmons, two of my better friends.
Robin Roberts was one of the class acts of all-time baseball. Absolutely one of a kind. He was one of the nicest people you could ever want to see. I'm a kid coming up, and he treated me so nice. And Kurt Simmons the same way. They were just class acts.
I used to go to his show at Channel 10, and you'd come home with a six-pack of 7-Up. You made money because they were returnable bottles.
Yeah, it was a class act, no question about it.
Bobby, you had just mentioned a lot of the baseball players or fans of today don't even know what's a complete game. What's a
It's pretty hard to find a complete game.
Yeah.
At this time of life, I can't understand why these guys are throwing so doggone hard. I watch these guys on television, they're throwing 100 miles an hour, and my arms killing them, just looking at them. Well, I wasn't very good. I guess I was a pretty good pitcher, but I threw maybe 83, 84 miles an hour. My best pitch was a curveball. And I came up with a little knuckleball, and the best thing I did was change speeds. And I think that was one of the better pitches of my life, rather than any curveball. I even put the change speed better than anything. I could have a pretty good curveball and a good control. But I think I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world. I'm getting paid now, more now than I ever made in my life. I won 24 games in 1952. I was getting $12,000. I thought I was overpaid. Now I'm getting my pension. Now I'm just trying to stay alive.
Let's give it up for these guys. Come on.
Bobby, what was the minimum salary when you played?
My first when I came to the big league, it was $5,000 a year. Then it went to six, and the next year I won 6,000. And then the next year I got 7,000. Then I won 18 games, and they raised me to 12,000. So that's when before I had my real good year at 24, and then of course I got $12,000. And then when I went to the Yankees, I made a little more money because I was in the World Series there. I couldn't wait to get there. I was trying to picture hit that goddamn mail.
So when I came up, it got up to $6,500 minimum salary. $6,500 minimum salary, and the general manager say, "Well, if you have a good year, we'll talk about it." And every year was the same thing. you have a good year, we'll talk about it. If you have a good year, we'll talk about it. They never talk. In fact, they're trying to put him into the Hall of Fame. John Quinn, he's our general manager. And they can't find anybody nice to say anything nice about him at the ceremony. So it was a rough time then. Then we went on strike, and all us guys went on strike, and finally we got a leader. Marvin Miller came in and took over how to do things, how to get things done, and little by little he got them done. And now the players own the owners. So it kind of went snowballed the other way, but he had a lot to do with getting things done. Meal money was like peanuts, and all of a sudden he came in and said that's below average. Everything was below average, and he got everything taken care of. When I was playing, we played in Connie Mack Stadium when I was playing. When we played the Dodgers and Giants, we're playing the Dodgers and Giants back to back in that schedule. And they would put a sign on the wall, no passes for the series. Well, for years we let it go. They traded for Jim Bunning, who had been a player rep in the American League. So he comes over to us, and we naturally nominate him player rep. So he looks at that sign and he said, "What's that sign mean?" And we told him they won't let us leave passes, family or friends, because of the giant Dodger they can sell out. Wrong. He took the thing off the wall, went upstairs, talked to whoever he talked to, John Quinn, I guess, or the owner, Bob Carpenter. And he came back and he said, "Here's your pass list. Go ahead and leave your tickets." And so that's how things got done. At one time, Dallas Green was our player, and we would give him all our troubles. We didn't like this, we didn't like this, we didn't like this, we didn't like that. He would go up and talk to John Quinn or Carpenter or whoever it was, and 3 days later he'd be sent out. So we nominated the right guy when we nominated Buddy.
Wow.
All right, Lauren, Madison, and by the way, that's an adorable shirt.
Yeah, thank you. Fran brought that to me. Fran has one as well.
Is that right?
That's right.
There's two of a kind.
There's two. That's right.
All right, so, boys, we got a comedian in the crowd, and he was your driver tonight.
Yeah.
So this is.
Bill Mattis has created some questions that we have for you guys. So we want to hear a story that you might have that goes with those questions, or just the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the question. So the first one, who would you say was the funniest guy on the 1964 Phillies team? Who was the funniest
guy outside of me? Well, we had Bob Uecker. I don't know if he was on 64 though. He may not be.
He got cut in spring training, didn't he?
Yeah.
I believe so. Why? I have no idea.
Let's see, the funniest guy in the 64 team. Who would that be? 64. Oh, yeah.
I mean, we can go with you if you're the best answer.
Could have been me. I don't know. 64, funniest guy.
You joined, Mr. Chance, you joined them late in the season. What do you have a comment on that? Funniest guy? What shenanigans did you have to put up with?
Gene Mock.
He wasn't the funniest. He was the nastiest.
I knew that was coming.
I mean, there's a lot of times, after the game, they would have a table for little snacks and things like that. He cleared that off a few times. So he wasn't the funniest.
Art Mahaffey really liked Jim Mock.
Art Mahaffey was not one of the funniest guys. No. Who the heck would it be? Let's see.
I didn't think any of them were very funny.
We didn't, actually in 64, there wasn't a lot of laughing because Gene was strictly baseball. There was no in between any of this other stuff. And he didn't go for, party times. So it was tough to find somebody funny.
The 1964 season was only about 6 months from when the Kennedy assassination happened. Do you remember where you were when you heard the news?
Yes, I do. I was going over to Ashbourne Country Club to pick up a jacket for my wife. They had their business across the street from the ballpark. And the guy told me, he said, "Hey, the jacket you wanted for your wife, I have it, but I have it back at the country club." So I drove from my house, which is Valley Forge area, out toward there, and I'm looking at everybody on the corners crying and talking to each other, and I'm going, what the heck happened? So I get to the place, they got all the TVs going, and they said, the president was shot. And I went, no, it can't be. And, I'm thinking, Lincoln got shot. That'll never happen again. And here it is. We lived through that. So that was where I was.
Mr. Shantz, do you remember?
No.
No?
That's where I was. I got the jacket, though.
You got the jacket?
You don't know where the jacket is?
I don't know where it is now, but I got the jacket.
If the two of you are taking a long road trip together and you have 3 CDs of music to listen to, which gets played the most? Elvis, Sinatra, or the Beatles?
That's no brainer. Sinatra.
Sinatra.
Yeah, no brainer. Yeah.
In agreement.
Elvis is pretty good, but Sinatra was the man.
In 1964, what brand of beer was usually stocked in the Phillies locker room? Schmitz, Valentine, or something else?
Okay. We were in the clubhouse, which was a little tiny cement building, cement floor. We had a mirror at the end. The urinals didn't have doors on them. And it was like 5 showers that everybody had to use. There was no individual stuff. And it was, let's see, what was I going to tell them? Repeat that question, I forgot it.
In 1964, what brand of beer was
Oh, okay,
usually
yeah, I
stocked
got
in
that.
the
That was
locker room?
easy. We only had one. We had Valentine beer with our sponsor. Look sharp, be sharp, and all that stuff. And when we started trading to other teams, we started getting some people from the Cardinals. And they would come in and they said, Valentine beer, who drinks that junk? And they made the clubhouse guy go out and get Budweiser. So it was all, Valentine was free too. Otherwise, in the old days, they had a cheat sheet on a wall. So every time we only had a couple candy bars or something like that, and the beer, you would put a little dip on there, and then he would give you a bill at the 2 weeks, and that's how these guys come in and said we want Budweiser, and they got the Budweiser in there.
Alright. Did Bunny and Short ever quietly complain to you about being overused down the stretch of the 1964 season?
Never. They would take the ball anytime it was given to them.
How did the locker room facilities at Connie Mack Stadium compare to those around the league?
Well, there's a toilet here, and then there's a big league clubhouse. We were in the toilet. It was so stupid too, because the training room, we all had a stool. We had a stool. We had a little wire cage. We had all cement floor, and the training room was upstairs. You had to go up a flight of stairs to go to the training room. Now, when somebody got hurt, they had to get him up the stairs to the training room. It didn't make any sense, but that's the way it was built.
And when the athletics were in town, we had to take the same thing. I was traded to the Yankees, it was just like going to a country club. It was beautiful.
Well, Richie Allen had the corner locker, and then when he got into all his baloney that was going on about Richie Allen and Thomas, he went into the back room, which was a dirt floor, and there was nothing back there. He just wanted to get away from the press.
What was your favorite pre-game meal? Meal.
What did you eat?
Whatever I got.
I never ate anything before I pitched.
Whatever I got at home, whatever my wife made, because we didn't have anything in the clubhouse, and there was nothing. Guys would try to sneak, they get their clubhouse guy and say, "Hey, here's $20. Well, give me a couple of hot dogs, and I'll meet you back in the corner." That went on, but there was no. We didn't even have a table.
Right.
We had nothing. We weren't under. Clay Dalrymple went on a show. What the heck was his name? Not Captain Kangaroo, but one of those kind of shows. He went on that show one day, and they gave him a little black and white TV. So he didn't, he wasn't going to take it home with him, so he didn't care. So they put it in the clubhouse and turned it on. And John Quinn and Bob Carpenter came in one day and said, "What is that?" And they told him the story about the Dalrymple thing. "Get that thing out of here. We weren't allowed to have that."
What was the highest amount of annual salary that were paid in one season?
The highest? I got up to maybe 20. Maybe. I'm not sure.
When I was with the athletics, I started out $5,000. Next year, $6,000. Next year, $7,000. Then I won 18, and I went to $12,000. And the next year, I won 24, and I went to $12,000. That was the highest I ever went until when I won 24 games, Mr. Connie Mack gave me a large $24,000. That's the most I ever made in baseball. And I was before I was ever paid yet.
All right, and the last one. Do you remember the first time you saw yourself on a baseball card?
First time. I was impressed. I mean, here I am. Looks really a baseball card, but you know how stupid we were back in our day. Tops would come into the clubhouse and they'd throw all these boxes of bubble gum and cards and everything else. We were so smart, we threw all the cards away and ate the bubble gum. And now I could kick myself a few times.
Oh, yeah.
But every year they would try to do something different. 1 year you'd get a bat, 1 year you get a glove, 1 year. Then they would vary it. It was you get a prize. You got a gift for doing it. So you got a TV or you got a radio or you got something, and the best we could do.
I felt like $1 million, and I had my name and picture on that card. There you go. And I still do.
All right, that's another minute.
There you go. Questions, comments, anybody? We got a question over here?
Mr. Bob Chance, what was it like to play for Connie Mack?
What was it like to play for Connie Mack?
I really like playing for Mr. Knight. He was very quiet, man, he never said too much. But when Jimmy Dykes took over, it changed quite a bit. But he never, Mr. Mack never did too much of the coaching. He would just wave the card once in a while, but his son, Earl, did most of the managing. And then Jimmy Dykes took over, and that never got together. Jimmy did a good job, too.
I have one further question. There's a new movie out, it's a documentary by Yogi Berra called It's Not Over Till It's Over. Have you seen it and what do you think about it?
I can't.
A documentary that's out by with Yogi Berra. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. No. What was it?
The Order put together a whole film about Yogi's life from beginning to end. A big portion of it was talking about his years separated from the Yankees because of George Steinbrenner. That George Steinbrenner never fired him. He had George Steinbrenner had somebody come and told him that he was done, he was fired. So he separated himself from that, but toward the end of his Yogi's life, he finally came back for Yogi Day. So Bobby's a good movie. It's really a great movie.
Well, Yogi is one hell of a guy, too, and a great golf player, and a good guy to be with. And that whole family is the same way, all nice people. And all the guys on the Yankees were the same. Good bunch of guys and great ball players, and I was happy to be here.
Yogi was one of those class guys. He if you get the stats on Yogi Berra, you'd be amazed at how good they were. And you look at this little short guy, you'd say, how can he hit that many home runs and how can he drive in that many runs? But every time he needed a big hit, he got it. Because I grew up in Long Island. I was a Yankee fan all my life, Yankee fan. And I watched Berra and Matt Mickey and all those guys play. And always, he was in the middle of everything. And he caught every day. And you wonder, how the heck did he do that? You know, everybody talking about the young guys that they have to do this and they have to do that. He didn't, he just caught. And the pitchers threw the ball.
The movie actually showed that I believe he had 6 World Series rings, 3 on each hand, and which was unbelievable for a catcher that did that and did the home runs and there. But Bobby, you probably were glad that you didn't have to play with George Steinbrenner, right?
Did you hear it? Did you play for George Steinbrenner?
Yes, a couple years. Mr. Steinbrenner, I never saw him once.
George was, I was playing for Buffalo, and George liked the guys where we hung out at this one place. He was from Cleveland, but he would come into Buffalo on the weekend, and he would watch the Buffalo team play, and then we'd go out to dinner. And they invited me because I was living in that area. So I get invited to go to dinner with George and the group that had the local bar. And he's telling me, he says, I'm going to buy a team. And I said, well, what team? He said, I'm going to buy a team pretty soon. And I'm thinking Syracuse, which is AAA, Syracuse, Buffalo, maybe Richmond, maybe where, you know, I didn't know. And 2 weeks later, he bought the Yankees. So he wasn't lying.
All right, we got another question.
This is for both of you. Nowadays, volleyball players, they have always said they're training all year long. You're trying to do it from, did any of you have jobs in the off-season, supplement your salary, and what did you do to prepare? Nowadays, spring training doesn't seem like it means much, but in your day, it probably meant a lot.
Well, a season ended for me. This is me. Season ended for me, and luckily I got a job with Ballantine Beer as a potential salesman. I got $105 a week, and I went working the next week, right after the season was over. So we had to have a job. I mean, we didn't make enough during the season to last. So that was my job, Valentine beer.
How about you, Mr. Shanks?
Yeah, I also had a job, and we never made a lot of money at first, so I had to go to work for the post office and the liquor store. Either one was bad. I went to both of them.
Well, Bobby, we just had the All-Star game yesterday. Can you tell us about your experience in the 52 All-Star game, having to strike out the side?
52 All-Star game, I pitched one game. I struck out Whitey Lockman, Jackie Robinson, and Stan Musial. Then I decided I got $300.
I don't know about that.
All right, John, tonight's getting away from us. How about a couple of trivia
Little
questions?
trivia?
We worked hard on this. I don't want to miss this opportunity.
Exactly, that's true. So in honor of Quizzo, that's usually here on Wednesday nights, we got some kind of Quizzo type questions. All right, so there are 4 colleges that are named for a color. What are they? You can't hear it?
4 colleges that are named after a color?
Yes.
Their nickname is a color.
There's
There's 4.
nickname.
No, they're named.
They're named.
The university itself is named
Yeah.
color.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
you're calling it out.
You get all 4 and then raise your hand.
Are we gonna cut the photo in 4s?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that right? Brown?
That is one.
All right, shout them out. Come on. Who?
That's one.
That's 1.
Who was that?
That's 2. Nope.
No, bowling. It's got bowling in it. Yeah, but it's bowling.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
Stanford.
Hanford.
Where's the time?
Hands up.
Go ahead,
That's
Mike.
the nickname.
No.
No, the university, so Syracuse wouldn't be a color.
How about Navy?
Oh, jeez. And the
What's the last one, John?
And Siena.
Yeah.
Siena.
There was
What was
something.
Siena.
Never heard of that
No.
place.
Never heard of that?
No,
All right.
never heard of that.
All right. Well, see, we're being a little bit more difficult here on this fan view. Make it harder to
Mike
get an answer.
Schmidt's turned his back on us. That's
Yeah.
not a good sign.
We got Mike Schmidt stumped.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
The fields aren't happy either. This is-
I know, their cheat sheets are all thrown out the window
They
now.
weren't happy.
Or study sheets, as I should call them.
Somebody gonna turn their shirts in?
Guys, study guides, sorry. So anyway, our next
Cheating
question.
educators, that's what I call it.
Our next question, in the 4 major sports, there are 8 teams that have common names. Can you name 5 of them? To give you an example, Washington Senators and Ottawa Senators. So that's one of them. Give me 5 other ones. There you go. So
What's that?
we got 3 of them right
What
there.
I got?
So whoever jumps
All right,
in.
who did we get so far, John?
We got the Jets, the Rangers, and the Cardinals.
But the Steelers. Pittsburgh.
Panthers,
Panthers is a good one.
Panthers.
Tigers,
Pittsburgh?
Giants.
No.
Giants is a good one.
Kings.
Kings, there you go.
See, we're really Mike Schmidt back here, so he's liking this.
We got Edmonton Oilers and Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, John, I think they're ready to dunk us.
You know, that's good.
I think so too.
They want to know who Bobby Shantz struck out in the World in All-Star game in '52. They would have the answer to that. Exactly. All right, and here's one more. Who's the only NFL team never to host or play in the Super Bowl? No, they played in the Superdome. Nope, that was already answered.
Detroit is incorrect. Tampa Bay?
Nope. The Buccaneers won it in Tampa. They played in it too.
I heard it out there. Phil?
Cleveland.
That is correct. Here we go. We got a winner.
Cleveland, huh?
Cleveland Browns, yeah.
Wow.
All right. I know there's some soccer fans around here as well. Yeah, really. Really. What's the soccer field called? Super Bowl. No, that's the Union. That's not the Super Bowl Park is not the name of the field. The actual playing field. There you go. You won. You got it there.
What was it?
Who did? Where we going?
It's called the pitch.
Really?
The field is called the pitch.
Boy, you learn things here.
There you do.
Wow. Never heard of it.
There you go.
All right, John, we're gonna have to rethink this.
Oh boy. Hitting back to the liners.
Yeah,
All right. We got one other one that we can get a winner for.
where's our Quizzo guy?
Yeah, exactly. All right. What are the name of the three races for the Triple Crown? And the horse racing.
Fast, slow, and medium.
Raise your hands.
Mike Smith.
We're all up now.
Yeah, everybody.
Look how easy this one is.
There you go. There you go. We had to throw a few easy ones in there for you. Otherwise, everybody goes home crying.
All right. How we doing on them raffles there, Henry?
We're good.
Everybody get their free
How we
tickets?
doing?
There you go.
That's the answer we were looking for, Emily.
There you go. Buck apiece. Around 8 o'clock, we're gonna draw that fine memorabilia.
Got some great
By
prizes.
Carl's Cards and Collectibles, right up the street on Eagle Road in Havertown. And who's gonna be there Monday night, John?
That one, Matt Strong.
Matt Strong.
Yep.
He can throw a little bit, right?
He had a good arm.
He can throw a little bit. And he collects trading cards too, so we'll get his take on, what's it called? The life.
What, the baseball card one?
Yeah, the park life.
Card.
Card.
I think they might be more interested in your having July 22nd.
July 20, Anthony, you want to make that announcement? Since you're the only Pirate fan in the house?
Steve Glass.
Oh,
Steve Glass.
Steve Glass.
He's not gonna throw the ball, is he?
Bobby, you got a good Steve Glass story for us?
No, well, I just knew that he threw a couple pitches over my head. I mean, it was amazing though, because the year before, he was so good. I mean, he was one of the best pitchers. And then all of a sudden he lost it. Like for some unknown reason. Nobody knows why that happens. It's who else was like that? Clay Dalrymple, our catcher, when they traded for him, he had trouble throwing the ball back to the pitcher. Locke called timeout and said, "You go out and hand him the ball." And every day he'd go hand him the ball, and then finally he came on and he became a pretty good catcher. The left-hand pitcher for the Phillies, what's his name? Couldn't get the ball over in Philly, and he went to St. Louis. Since St. Louis became a closer. Left-hand pitcher, threw hard. Oh, I can't think of his name. he couldn't get the ball over here. He was a good pitcher for them, and then he lost it. And he wound up going to St. Louis somewhere, and he wound up being the closer. So I don't know no one knows why that happened.
Yeah.
Think of that guy now, this left-hand pitcher with the Phillies that was very good, then lost it, and wound up going with another team and became a closer.
This year?
No, this during the 60s, 50s. I know where you're going.
All right, last call on questions, comments. Before we close this fantastic show out, I want to thank these two gentlemen for coming out tonight. I think we can do a little bit better for Bobby Shanks and Bobby Wise.
How about the game? How about the game we're playing the Dodgers in Connie Mack, and Koufax was pitching, and Koufax was pitching a no hitter, and Connie Mack was sold out, for everybody. Well, I wasn't really known for much power or averages or anything. But Mom turns to me and he says, "Get a bat." And it's the 9th inning. And I went, what? He said, "Get a bat." So the first hitter's out, second hitter's out. He said, "Go pinch hit." I pitched a no hitter. And I looked at him like he's lost his mind or something. So I go up there and I go to hit, and I foul the ball off. And I thought, whoa, that's pretty good. So I fouled the next one off, and it hit the umpire in the throat. And he went down on one knee. And the trainers come out, and they're checking him, choking. And he says, come on. Let's go. I don't want him to get cold out there. I said, you just stay on down there and don't worry about him. Next pitch was history. So I made the last out, and Koufax's no hitter. But I did foul one off.
There you go, 2.
Well, yeah, I'll take credit for 2. But I know 1 for sure.
All right, again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank Jimmy Clark and his staff here at Hanrahan for having us. We're back next month. We're working on the date. We're working on the guest. Other than that, Johnny,
I think we're all good, but thank you guys both. Yeah, we're good.
I want to personally thank both you gentlemen for making time for us tonight. Fighting the traffic to get here. That Bill Madison's a hell of an Uber driver. And the Madison now has shirts.
Yes,
So
it's official.
if you guys are looking for a Madison shirt, I understand they're on the secondary market for $15. So.
What's that hat you're wearing? Front row.
That's the Reading Phillies, Fighting Phillies.
Ready, Philly?
Ready, go.
Wow, that's nice.
Guys, thank you. We'll see you next month.